working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. And joining me today is from our EBC Vietnam Bureau. Hello, Charlene.
Hi, Alma, and hi, everyone. I am Charlene Navaja from your EBC Vietnam Bureau, bringing you the latest news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines. First to Indonesia, where Daniel Auminto lost his job and then his home when the coronavirus pandemic sent the Philippines into lockdown. Now, he and his family live on the street, relying on handouts to survive the record hunger in the Philippines as COVID restrictions bite.
A cruise to nowhere off Singapore was cut short Wednesday after a passenger tested positive for the coronavirus. Officials said a blow to efforts to revive the hard-hit industry.
Britain signed a free trade deal with Singapore, giving it a key foothold in Asia as it seeks to forge its own path after leaving the EU while talks on a post-Brexit deal stumble.
And lab-grown chicken will soon be available in restaurants in Singapore after the country became the first to green light meat created without slaughtering any animals.
And poverty in the Philippines. Daniel Auminto lost his job and then his home when the coronavirus pandemic sent the Philippines into lockdown. And now he and his family live on the street, relying on food handouts to survive. COVID-19 restrictions have crippled the economy and thrown many out of work. Take a look.
Wala po ako nabalan ng isang paa. Hindi ako makalakad ng diretsyo. Kasi nagdabala yung pandemya na yan. Kasi marami na siya. Marami na wala sa akin sa trabaho. Una sa pamilya ko, sa anak ko lang. Dahil kumakain mo sila sa pagkain, di makakain ng kahit na pabilingan nyo, nagatas, pampers. Hindi ako makabili dahil walang trabaho eh. Ano po, mabalik po yung dati. Dating buhay namin, na masaya, na nakasilong sila ng maayos, nakakain ng maayos, nakakaligo, nakatulog ng maayos. Kaya po, magaling po yung dating buhay namin po. Gusto namin talaga ito sa umalis sa bangketa, sir. Ito po lang habang buhay kami sa bangketa. Paano po kung anak ko?
I've never seen hunger at this level before. That is according to Jomar Fleras, Executive Director of Rice Against Hunger in the Philippines, which works with more than 40 partners to feed the poor. He said if you go out there, everybody will tell you that they're more afraid of dying from hunger than dying from COVID. He said they don't care about COVID anymore. The number of people going hungry has reached a record high during the pandemic, according to pollster social weather stations. Nearly one-third of families, or 7.6 million households, did not have enough food to eat at least once in the previous 3 months, its September survey showed. Among them were 2.2 million families experiencing severe hunger, the highest ever. The numbers have been going up since May, 2 months after the country went into a severe lockdown, reversing a downward trend since 2012. Virus restrictions have been eased in recent months to allow more businesses to operate as the government seeks to revive the devastated economy, which is expected to shrink up to 9.5% this year.
Maldives Foreign Minister meets with non-resident ambassadors. To tell us more, here's Steffi De Juan, EBC Maldives Bureau. Steffi.
Hi, Charlene. Good afternoon. So, here's the latest updates from Maldives. Minister of Foreign Affairs Abdullah Shahid on Wednesday met with several non-resident ambassadors accredited to Maldives. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, 2 diplomatic meetings were held virtually, One of the meetings were attended by the High Commissioners of Canada, Deputy High Commissioners from Australia and New Zealand, and the ambassadors of Norway, Switzerland, and Turkey. Minister Shahid thanked all the aforementioned participants for the assistance extended to strengthen the Maldives COVID-19 response, as well as the support offered throughout the country's development efforts. The foreign ministers and the envoys also discussed the prevailing circumstances pertaining to COVID-19. Deliberations further touched on opportunities to enhance bilateral and multilateral relationships between the countries. The ambassadors of Cuba, Mexico, charged the affairs of the embassies of Serbia, and the deputy head of mission of the embassy of Argentina also joined a virtual meeting. During the meeting, Minister Shahid and the diplomats exchanged information regarding the evolving COVID-19 situation and discussed avenues of enhancing bilateral and multilateral ties between the countries. Additionally, the minister highlighted the importance of international cooperation in strengthening the multilateral system. The meetings were initiated by the foreign minister to cultivate closer relationships and interactions between the minister and representatives accredited to Maldives. And that's the brief update from Maldives. Back to you, Charlene.
Thank you so much for your time, Steffi. So stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you so much, Arlene. Reporting live from Maldives, this is Stephanie Huan, and we live in interesting times.
From Maldives to Vietnam, the Nanogen biopharmaceutical will recruit 60 volunteers aged from 18 to 50 for its first phase of human trials of a potential COVID-19 vaccine from December 10, that's today. Now these volunteers, or December 17, these volunteers will then be divided into 3 smaller groups, each receiving 3 different vaccine dosages, 25, 50, and 75 milligrams. Each volunteer will receive 2 shots of the vaccine named NanoCovax with a gap of 28 days between the first and the second in the first 1 trials. The first shot is scheduled to begin on December 17. The clinical trials could be completed by April next year, and the vaccine may be distributed in the following months. That is according to Nanogen General Director Ho Nan. Vietnam currently has 4 COVID-19 vaccines under development by Nanogen, the Institute of Vaccines and Medical Biologicals, Vaccine and Biological Production Company No. 1, or Vabiotech, and the Center for Research and Production of Vaccines and Biologicals, or Polyvac. Nanogen Pharmaceutical, or Nanogen Biopharmaceutical, is a leading company that's doing research and development of active biopharmaceutical ingredients, or APIs, and specific therapeutic injections in the Asia-Pacific region based on advanced in recombinant DNA and protein technologies. Nanogen's team consists of high-qualified scientists and graduates in diversity of biotechnology, pharmaceutical, and healthcare. They said that they have an international business network with the aim to produce high-quality, affordable biotherapeutics. Nanogen R&D Director Do-Min Si said on December 9 that the company's COVID-19 vaccine research and production project has been carried out since March, and NanoCovax had been developed based on recombinant protein technology. As of 6:05 p.m. on December 9, Vietnam confirmed 1,381 COVID patients, including 1,225 recoveries, and fatality stays at 35.
A cruise to nowhere off Singapore was cut short Wednesday after a passenger tested positive for the coronavirus. Officials said a blow to efforts to revive the hard-hit industry.
With kind of hospital-grade kind of chemicals that we use on board the ship and all the safety measure, it is much safer to become on board than to be anywhere else.
The voyages, starting and ending at the city-state with no stops, began last month, marking the resumption of cruises after a month-long hiatus due to travel restriction. But early Wednesday morning, the holiday calm was shattered by an announcement the cruise was being cut short after an 83-year-old passenger had tested positive. Operator Royal Caribbean, in a statement, said that one guest aboard Quantum of the Seas tested positive for coronavirus and that they've identified and isolated all guests and crew who had close contact with guests. Passengers and crew will remain on board until contact tracing is complete and will undergo mandatory virus tests before leaving the cruise terminal, the board said in a statement. The cruises to nowhere have proved a hit in tiny Singapore after people were unable to go on holiday for months due to travel restrictions.
Meanwhile, Indonesia is betting that China-made coronavirus vaccines can help it tackle one of the worst outbreaks in Asia. But analysts are warning it is a wager that could leave them holding a high-interest diplomatic IOU. Now, this week, Indonesia received 1.2 million doses of a COVID-19 vaccine made by China's Sinovac, with another 1.8 million set to arrive next month. But experts say this access could have strings attached. China's vaccine diplomacy is not unconditional. Arditya Edward Yeremia and Klaus Heinrich Raidityo said in a paper published this month by the Singapore-based Yusof Ishak Institute. They said Beijing may use its vaccine donations to advance its regional agenda, particularly on sensitive issues such as its claims in the South China Sea. Indonesia started human trials of the Sinovac vaccine this summer, and it has not yet been approved by Chinese or Indonesian regulators. Jakarta has signed deals for more than 350 million vaccine doses from different suppliers, including AstraZeneca, but the majority will come from Chinese suppliers, including Sinovac and Sinopharm, according to a Duke University vaccine tracking project. Indonesia, the world's fourth most populous nation with 270 million people, has reported more than 500,000 coronavirus infections and around 18,000 deaths. Low rates of testing means these official figures are widely thought to be well below the reality.
Indonesia holds nationwide regional elections with more than 100 million voters expected to cast a ballot. Despite warnings, the poll would worsen the nation's COVID-19 crisis. The archipelago of nearly 270 million, the world's third biggest democracy and fourth most populous nation, delayed the vote originally set for September as it struggled to contain soaring infection rates.
Kekhawatiran tidak ya, karena kita semua punya vaksinasi. Kalau disamakan jangan sampai golput gitu kan, dan tidak disalahgunakan gitu. Kita kan vaksinnya juga sesuai yang kita pilih aja.
Khawatir sebenarnya ada, cuman dari Bawaslu atau sebenarnya juga sudah dijelaskan gimana cara kita mengatasi terpapar COVID-19 dengan tindakan pencegahan COVID-19. Di antaranya seperti di awal pagi-pagi tadi sebelum dimulai kita udah melakukan penyemprotan disinfektan, terus kemudian kan ruang tunggu juga luas ya. Daftar pemilih di TPS 29 yang paling tua itu kelahiran tahun 1932. Nah, untuk yang paling muda di 2002. Nah, untuk yang pemilih yang tua itu yang lansia, tadi memang sebagian ada yang menggunakan pendamping ya. Itu kan pendamping memang diperbolehkan hanya dia mengisi form surat.
From the capital, Jakarta, to the holiday island of Bali, polling station staff in full protective gear enforced social distancing and took voters' temperatures before polls closed at 1 p.m. local time. Islamist parties are looking to score big gains in the world's biggest Muslim majority nation as they ride a tide of rising religious conservatism. Hundreds of hopefuls, including President Joko Widodo's eldest son, are vying for 270 positions, including regional governors, district heads, and mayors. Official results are not expected for several weeks. At least 4 election candidates have died so far, according to independent research group Lapor COVID. And more than 1,000 election agency staff were infected ahead of voting day. Over 580,000 Indonesians have contracted the illness, while the death toll stands at 18,000. But the true scale of the crisis is widely believed to be much bigger. As testing rates are low, infections could skyrocket above 1 million after polling day, warned Hermawan Saputra at the Indonesian Public Health Experts Association.
And following the growing number of clusters originating from social gatherings in recent times, the Malaysian Ministry of Health has reminded the public to adhere to the Standard Operating Procedures, or SOPs, when attending any type of gathering or while in public places. According to Bernama News Agency, Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, through a Facebook post, today said that this includes large gatherings involving families such as celebrations and religious ceremonies, which are also attended by individuals with symptoms. He cited an example of the Angkor cluster in Perak and the Indah Mas cluster in the federal territories of Kuala Lumpur and Selangor, which started with family gatherings and then spread in the community. Dr. Noor Hisham added that the Inai cluster and Jambul cluster in Sabah are among clusters that stem from celebrations, while the Mentari cluster detected in Selangor, Negeri, Sembilan, and the federal territory of Kuala Lumpur started from religious ceremonies involving family members and acquaintances present at a funeral in Nilai, Negeri, Sembilan.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
In good shape. Isn't that how we'd all like to be? But how can you be truly fit? And how can you stay truly healthy right up into your golden years? And truly have fun while doing it.
In good shape.
Welcome back to ASEAN in Focus. How to roll out COVID-19 vaccines globally. World Health expert Dr. Kate O'Brien explains.
In the short term, in 2021, the vaccines will be in limited supply. We know that. Everything is being done to go as quickly as possible. What is really important is that the vaccines that are available in early 2021 and later in 2021 are used to their maximum capacity to slow down and change the course of this pandemic. And so not just the right thing to do, but the smart thing to do from a science perspective is to assure that those vaccines are given to people who most need them. And that means giving them to especially health workers who are at high and very high risk of COVID transmission, COVID disease, and to people who are at highest risk of serious outcome. Serious outcomes that require intensive care units, hospitalization, and among those people who are at highest risk of death.
In other news, Britain on Thursday signed a free trade deal with Singapore, giving it a key foothold in Asia as it seeks to forge its own path after leaving the European Union, while talks on a post-Brexit deal stumble. The agreement largely replicates an existing EU-Singapore agreement with the city-state's trade ministry, saying it will cover more than 17 billion pounds or $22 billion in trade. It removes tariffs, gives both countries access to each other's markets in services, and cuts non-tariff barriers in electronics, cars, and vehicle parts, pharmaceutical products, medical devices, and renewable energy generation, according to the ministry. Duties will be eliminated by November of 2024, the same timeline as the pact between the EU and Singapore, a former British colony that maintains close links with London. The agreement provides British businesses a platform to access opportunities in the region through Singapore, according to Trade Minister Chan Chung Sing, as he signed the deal with his British counterpart, Liz Truss. Beyond the significant benefits to our respective businesses, the deal is a strong statement against protectionism and nativism, according to Mr. Chan, adding it will be crucial in ensuring a strong and resilient post-pandemic recovery for the world. Britain signed its first major post-Brexit trade deal with Japan in October, but Thursday's agreement is its first with a member of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. The 10-country bloc is home to 650 million people, and prior to the pandemic-induced downturn, had enjoyed rapid economic growth in recent years. Now, the deal also comes after British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen gave themselves until Sunday to decide on the future of post-Brexit negotiations following a 3-hour dinner that left the two sides far apart.
And the number of school children affected by COVID-19 related school closures soared by 38% in November, placing significant strain on the learning progress and well-being of an additional 90 million students globally. According to data collected by UNESCO, classrooms for nearly 1 in 5 school children globally, or 320 million, are closed as of 1st December, an increase of nearly 90 million from 232 million on November 1st. In contrast, the month of October saw the number of school children affected by school closures decrease nearly threefold. When schools close, children risk losing their learning support system, food and safety, with the most marginalized children, who are the most likely to drop out altogether, paying the heaviest price, and as millions of children remain out of their classrooms for more than 9 months, and many more are reliving the upheaval. UNICEF fears that too many schools are closing unnecessarily and not enough emphasis has been placed on taking the necessary steps to make schools safe from COVID-19. A recent global study using data from 191 countries showed no association between school status and COVID-19 infection rates in the community, with little evidence that schools contribute to higher rates of transmission. UNICEF urges governments to prioritize reopening schools and take all actions possible to make them as safe as possible. School reopening plans must include expanding access to education, including remote learning, especially from marginalized groups. Education systems must also be adapted and built to withstand future crises. UNICEF's framework for reopening schools, issued jointly with UNESCO, UNHCR, WFP, and the World Bank, offers practical advice for national and local authorities. The guidelines focus on policy reform, financing requirements, safe operations, compensatory learning, wellness and protection, and reaching the most marginalized children.
In other news, due to the clamor of Metro Manila mayors, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, will resume the implementation of the truck ban starting Monday, December 14. MMDA General Manager Jojo Garcia said the resumption of the truck ban is to alleviate the heavy traffic in the metropolis this holiday season. Large trucks are banned from traversing along major thoroughfares in Metro Manila managed by the MMDA from 6 to 10 a.m. and 5 to 10 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Under the MMDA's existing truck ban policy, no truck ban is enforced on Sundays and holidays on major thoroughfares managed by MMDA except on EDSA. A total truck ban is enforced along EDSA from Magallanes Interchange in Makati City to North Avenue in Quezon City, 24 hours from Monday to Sunday. In March this year, the MMDA suspended the truck ban policy on major thoroughfares in the metropolis to ensure unhampered movement of the essential goods amid the pandemic.
The U.S. Treasury sanctions Wednesday on a notorious Chinese organized crime leader known as Broken Tooth, alleging he is expanding criminal activities throughout Southeast Asia on the back of a major Beijing infrastructure initiative. Wan Kuo-Koi, the head of the powerful 14K Triad, or organized crime group, has built operations in Cambodia, Myanmar, and Palau since being released from Macau prison 8 years ago, the Treasury said. It called Wan a member of the Communist Party of China's Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, who has attached his criminal operations to Beijing Belt and Road Initiative, a multi-year plan to build economic and political networks throughout developing countries. It said one Cambodia-based World Hongmen History and Culture Association has been a front for criminal activities, developing and launching cryptocurrencies, dealing in real estate and casinos, and establishing a security company focused on Belt and Road Initiative investments.
Kickoff.
This much is certain. Something is coming.
the fact check for the kickoff of the Bundesliga. Who are the favorites? Who should be nervous? And where might surprises be lurking? We dare to look ahead to the new season.
Kickoff. Passengers here are in for a ride. Taxi drivers here need nerves of steel, while passengers here can get an eyeful along the way. Rev taxis accommodate passengers all over the world. The Driver, our series. Rev.
Welcome back. Department of Trade and Industry Secretary Ramon Lopez discussed the IATF's endorsement of the Safety Seal certification. This is to assure the public that establishments comply with safety protocols. He also said this will increase public confidence as the economy gradually opens up. The DTI, DOH, DILG, DOT, and DOTR will draft a joint memorandum on the implementation of the guidelines for local governments. Let's listen in.
To be able to balance the health and safety of our citizens with the need to reopen the economy, the IATF has endorsed the establishment of a Safety Seal certification program. We are calling this program Safe Dito. Safe Dito. This program aims to increase the confidence of the general public in going out and patronizing establishments that have stringent health and safety as well as contact tracing protocols in place required by the IATF. One major requirement for the certification is the adoption of the Stay Safe PH system as their digital contact tracing tool. The local government units, LGUs, will be responsible for issuing the Safety Seal certification to the establishments in their jurisdictions that comply with the safety protocols. This is not, however, a one-time exercise. Earning the seal and keeping the seal are two different things altogether. The LGUs will be asked to perform regular audits on establishments to ensure that they continuously comply with the required safety protocols. Upon audit, if the establishment is found to have failed in complying with the safety protocols, their safety seal will be revoked and will only be reissued once the establishment is able to comply. Certified establishments will be provided a Safety Seal certification sticker, which they will be required to display at all entry points of the establishment. Certified establishments are also required to display their Stay Safe business QR code at all entry points. Customers or patrons of the store are required to scan the QR code of the establishment for screening questions and the latest Safety Seal certification check. Employees of the certified establishments are also required to scan the Stay Safe QR code. They can also download and use the Stay Safe app. The IATF strongly encourages the LGUs to mandate establishments to apply for a Safety Seal certification to provide their constituents with certified safe, quote-unquote, places to visit and patronize. The LGUs will build and update the Stay Safe database each time an establishment receives a safety seal that can easily be accessed by the general public. The IATF has directed the Department of Trade and Industry, the Department of Health, Department of Interior and Local Government, the Department of Tourism, Department of Transportation to issue the necessary joint memorandum circular to be deployed to the LGUs, which will outline the implementing guidelines and requirements in securing a safety seal certificate. As we await the issuance of the joint memorandum circular, the IATF would like to reiterate to the LGUs and establishments to already adopt the Stay Safe PH system as their digital contact tracing platform or integrate into their current systems in order for them to get a head start on the requirements for the safety seal certification.
According to DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez, the recovery of the Philippines economy will continue after the government eases more community quarantine restrictions. Secretary Lopez said that even though the unemployment rate has dropped to 8.7% today, our government is still trying to give Filipinos the opportunity to work so that the country can achieve the 5% unemployment rate.
We will have to run again the numbers, but assuming kasi that there are still these levels of restrictions, very obvious yung ating mga age restriction and halos kalahati, I mean, hindi makalahati, but I think 15 and below hindi pa ina-allow lumabas, and above 65. So these are consumers as well, no, na hindi nakakalabas, or if not, they are encouraging more consumption spending. So may limitation. But I was saying that assuming may limitation dyan, what we can rely on would be the other factors. Na ito yung mga new investments that can hopefully give a big boost to the economy, add on to the business, jobs, and all that, coming from the new investments. The budget that which, as mentioned by Capse Carlo, that will support the build, no? A bigger build budget. Eh lahat ito capital outlay, lahat ito may trabaho na kasabay. So ito yung asahan nating makakahatak pa ng mga mas marami pang job opportunities. Kasi kung aasa lang natin dito sa liberalizing the restrictions, malayo pa kasi yung vaccine wala pa, and even next year hindi pa lahat 100% yung vaccine. So I think yung precaution sa pag-iingat na i-allow lahat would still be a challenge until next year. So given those restrictions on these existing segments and parameters, mahirap maabot yung pre-COVID level. Again, maaabot lang yan sa pamamagitan ng panibago nating mga opportunities na na-create dito nga sa mga new investments that we expect to come in next year. Plus, despite the pandemic, hopefully yung export natin nag-positive 2% growth na. So parang hopefully may mga ganun pang lumabas ulit na mga good news na maibalik yung dating sigla. PMI, Purchasing Managers Index, almost 50, which is the benchmark 50. It went down to as low as 30 last April. But they slowly crept up, went up back to 48, 49, now 49.9, almost 50. At one point, 2 months ago, nag-51 pa yan. So, nag-50.1. So, there are these good signs. So, again, with more positive factors, more reopening to the extent possible, then mas lalo pa nga na yan. Hopefully, lalapit na tayo kung nasa 8.7 unemployment. We mentioned before, after we got the 10%, we said that after that, it's expected to see single digits. So, nandyan na po tayo sa 8.7. So, we hope that it can reach closer to 5. May not be 5 yet.
Senior and disabled pensioners can now get their cash gift from the Government Service Insurance System, or GSIS, to be remitted through their pensioners' e-card or UMID. Government Service or GSIS Executive Vice President for Core Business Sector, Attorney Nora Malubay, said that suspended GSIS pensioners can also renew their membership until June of next year to avail of their cash gift. Let's listen in.
Bonus for this month, around 318,000 plus na old age pensioners po at disability pensioners. Sila po ang tatanggap ng cash gift na 10,000 pesos or the monthly pension whichever is lower. Ang ibig sabihin po no, kung ang kanya pong monthly pension ay 6,000, ang tatanggapin po niya ay 6,000. Kung ang kanya pong monthly pension ay 50,000, ang tatanggapin po niya ay 10,000. So maximum of 10,000. Atin po na-i-credit na po ito, so pwede na po itong i-withdraw ngayong araw na to. Kasi po naibigay na rin po at na-i-credit na rin po natin ang kanilang monthly pension. Yung po mga suspended na pensioners, kasi po hindi sila nag-appear noong bago tayo nagkaroon ng lockdown. Ibig sabihin, before March and prior dates or prior years, talagang hindi na nagsisipag-appear, hindi na nagpakita, hindi po natin alam kung buhay o ano po ang kanilang kondisyon. So, yun po ay nakasuspend. So, ngayon po, isinuspend pa rin po namin ang kanilang cash gift, but we are giving them until June 2021 na mag-appear po o mag-renew ng kanilang active status at ibibigay po namin kaagad ang kanilang cash gift.
On December 7, 2020, the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, issued a labor advisory 32-220 requiring employers to pay the employees deferred regular holiday pay until the end of 2020. Let's listen in.
Hindi po nakapag-operate at meron din pong kahirapan sa pinansyal yung ating mga employer. Lalong-lalo na karamihan po sa ating mga kumpanya ay maliliit lamang, nakapag-desisyon po ang DOLE na pwedeng ipagpaliban muna yung pagbabayad po ng regular holiday pay. Pero ito pong pagpapaliban na to ay nilinaw na po ng Department of Labor and Employment sa pamamagitan din po ng isa pang labor advisory kung saan minamandatuhan na po namin yung mga kumpanya na nagpaliban po ng pagbabayad ng regular holiday pay na bayaran na bago matapos ang taon yung kanilang mga manggagawa nung tinatawag nating regular holiday pay.
Lab-grown chicken will soon be available in restaurants in Singapore after the country became the first to greenlight meat created without slaughtering any animals.
Diminutive Malaysian delivery rider Muhammad Sidek Osman cuts a striking figure weaving through the traffic on a modified four-wheeled motorbike on his way to drop off food. Now, birth complications left him stooped and shorter than average at just 108 centimeters or 3.5 feet, making even simple tasks such as climbing stairs a challenge. Let's take a look.
Nama saya Muhammad Siddiq bin Osman. Saya berumur 21 tahun. Kerjaya saya sebagai rider Grab lah. Okay, kadang-kadang kau tak angkat, dia suruh saya naik flat. Okay, cara macam-macam lah. Saya letak makanan kat saya kat tengkuk ke, Saya naik tangga lah, pegang dulu tangga. Kadang saya pegang dekat tepi ke, atau saya jalan sampai ke rumah dia ke, kalau rumah flat. Naik tangga. Jangan putus asa, lemah semangat. Kalau orang cakap macam mana pun, biar je, pekat je ingat sebab manusia kita tak ada tutup mulut.
Since July, rolling youth-led protests calling for democratic reforms have been a boon for Thailand's art movement, and artist Chalermpol Junrayab is among a crop of creatives taking inspiration from the nation's political mood.
นอกจากสถานที่ท่องเที่ยวแล้วเนี่ยที่ Amazing เนี่ยมันก็น่าจะเป็นเรื่องแบบความเหลื่อมล้ำทางสังคมความคอร์รัปชันในบ้านเราอันนี้ผมก็มองว่ามันเป็น The Amazing Thailand ก็เลยหยิบยกไอ้ท็อปิกตรงนี้ขึ้นมาเป็นโลโก้ของงานชุดการเมืองชุดนี้ผมแค่มองว่าอยากให้คนรู้สึกขบขันไปกับมันหัวเราะไปกับมันไม่ได้มีความรู้สึกอยากจะแบบโอ้โหไปตะบี้ตะบันไปคุกคามอีกฝ่ายหนึ่งผมไม่ได้ต้องการอย่างนั้นผมแค่ต้องการอยากจะลดความรุนแรงของมันลงอ่ะ
Amazing. Thank you, Charlene, for joining me today. Thank you again. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you so much, Alma. It's always fun to be here. So that's all the latest news in the ASEAN region. This is Charlene Navaja from your EBC Vietnam Bureau. We live in interesting times.
And we'll see you back tomorrow. I'm Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times. Goodbye.